Alright, YouTube, this is a quick check-in because stuff happened last night. So I was wrapping up a show in Sunnyvale last night, and I have another show in Sunnyvale tomorrow. So what I thought I would do is just stay in Sunnyvale overnight. What I forgot is I needed to do show laundry. So I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to do it tonight. So last night I left Sunnyvale with the intent of doing laundry in Berkeley last night and then going back to Sunnyvale today for the show that I have tonight. And if you're clicking in the background, it's just my hazard lights. But the hazard is over. I just really wanted to stop and do this video. So anyway, in the dark, I just didn't notice, and my tire grazed something and basically went flat, and the side of the tire got ripped. And so like I was down and out with nowhere to go. I have an all-wheel drive vehicle, so basically what I've been told, and car people out there, you can talk to me about this, is that if the other 3 tires were too run down, I would have had to get 4 tires to balance it out for the 1 tire. When he did the measurements on my tires, he was like, these are still at a level where they can match with a new tire, no problem. I've talked about this before. I have a 2005 Toyota Sienna all-wheel drive, and off the factory, they come with run-flat tires. In Toyota's brilliance, because it was not brilliant, with this particular model, which isn't true for all Toyota Siennas, there is no spare tire included, and there's no storage area for a spare tire. And I've been meaning to get a hitch on the back and add a spare tire, but money hasn't worked out, and honestly, I prioritize some other things, including a refrigerator and my solar system, before the spare tire, because, you know, it's that thing where it's like, it's not immediate. And what I do have a tire inflator and one of those, you know, those quick can things where you can fix a puncture. And I've used that before and went and got a proper patch the next day, and it only cost me like $40. And it was a way to have some security. But when you rip the whole side of your tire, that stuff is basically useless. Like, there was a hole like this big ripped into the side of my tire. So, what is the point of telling this story? So I recently did a video that was the advantages of city van life. And every once in a while, people accuse me of being too, like, positive about this lifestyle when essentially I'm living in poverty. Like, I don't deny that. Like, on a good month, I make $2,000 a month. On a bad month, I might make $1,200 a month. You know, so my variation in monthly income is about $1,200 to $2,000 a month. And my bills, including my debts, are just over $1,000 a month. So what's left mostly allows me to put gas in the car and do basic survival. So I don't really have a lot of money like going into savings. I have money continuously kind of cutting into my debts, but I don't really have a lot of money after basic survival. So I'm not even going to pretend I'm one of those stories where it's like, oh, I'm saving all this money I would be spending on rent. I can't afford rent, period. Like, I can't afford it at what I'm bringing in per month. And then I get people who like, oh, I don't mind working. Like, you know, if you work hard, I work hard all the time, but, you know, I just don't make that much at what I do right now. And that's also because in this past year, I've sort of made a commitment to saying no to people who underpay me, and I've been paid better for the amount of work I do, probably in the last couple of months, than I have been in the past. I had a really good job earlier this year. I had a really good job at the end of the year, and then I had a nice job, as far as stage management, a nice job right in the middle. And I feel like I'm on the path to getting those relationships with companies that will pay you decently. But there's a lot of small companies that only want to pay you a couple $100 to stage manage their show for months. And when you first get out of college, you're trying to get that resume, but that can go into a whole slew of issues with artistic careers. And even when those careers are technically based, how people don't want to pay you for it. Like, they want to do a show and they want to have lights and sound, but they don't want to pay a rate for those lights and sound because art. But then that's a whole other rant. You know, I'm not going to go there. I finally reached the point where I am like, I have too thick of a resume to be saying yes to being underpaid. But that being said, I'm still well below the poverty line. I'm not going to pretend that's the most glorious way to live in a van. I would love to have a bigger van where I could stand up and walk around, or even have like a piece of land somewhere where, like, when I can take a break from work, I can go there. Look, those kinds of things are wonderful, but I don't have that. And so I've made the best of my situation, and I feel very positive about the fact that I maintain myself. That being said, when surprise things happen, I'm not going to pretend that they aren't a blow. Like, it's very scary. I immediately start looking at money. I immediately start asking myself how I'm going to rob Peter to pay Paul. And if that's what I got to do, I do it. And, like, there's a part of me that would love to not live that way, but I just haven't reached the point yet where, you know, I have sort of the kind of backup savings that can save me in an emergency. And it's hard to get that when you're trying to get out of debt, because if you have $500 in a bank, but you owe $1,000 to somebody, you're not really saving anything. And so, like, those kind of things come into play. Like, I literally saw a woman, she had $10,000 in savings, but she also had debts under $10,000, but she didn't want to take the savings out because, yeah, it was this whole crazy logic she had, and you need to get out of debt in order, you know, to do the thing. And that's another reason why I'm not going to RTR this year. Like, a lot of people's like, you should go. I'd love for you to go. To go to RTR, I would stop, as I did last January, moving towards my goal of getting out of the hole. In my financial situation, I'm not gonna lie, it is scary when suddenly I couldn't drive my home. And I was just kind of stuck on the side. Now, I was at home. I didn't really panic. I have AAA. I have AAA for a reason. You know, I need as many buffers as can help me out in my situation as possible. And so I called AAA. I was prepared to, they gave me an hour-long wait time. The truck driver got there in less than an hour. He picked me up. I went to Firestone because I already had, like, I got my tires from Firestone, and so there was some warranty, like, there's some roadside protection I got on the tires. And so even though I am not a rich person by any means, I am not in the privileged, you know, class of van dwellers that's saving a bunch of money that they would be spending on rent, and having, like, this pot that I can pull from where I can, like, make a choice to go somewhere that might have been cheaper than Firestone. But I did have, you know, the protection of having paid a little bit more when I got the tires, which helped me out when I was screwed. And so I made the best choices I could make for my situation at that time. And you know, I got the Firestone. I got towed to Firestone. I went to bed. My house was there. I went to bed right there in the parking lot. I got up at 7 o'clock when they opened. I went inside. I explained what happened. You know, they checked out my tires to see if it was going to be, you know, okay for me to get one tire and not 2 to 4. To balance out the tread depth situation. He did the measurements. He said I was within a safe zone to not have all 4, you know, to just get one new tire. And then I went ahead and got a full, like, you know, look over of the vehicle. I was told everything is good except for the fact that my timing belt is beyond the recommended maintenance. Like, there's nothing wrong with it that they could see, but they told me that, you know, it's beyond the point of recommended maintenance and replacement. I got a quote on that and what it would cost to take care of that, which is something I want to work toward, because this is my home. Like, if it was my burner vehicle, I wouldn't care as much. But it's my full-time home. It's where I live all of the time. And so that is something I want to prioritize, but it's good to know, like, there was no visible thing where they're like, this thing is going to spin you off the road. Like, as soon as you replace the tire, everything was good. I had the AAA, you know, I had, you know, the warranty protection under Firestone. So lacking savings, which is the most ideal situation, because you have so much more power when you have actual cash, because you can choose where to spend your cash. And you can make these other power choices. So if you can avoid ever being in debt, that would be the most ideal situation. But if you are, like, once you're there, it's nice to say that. But all of us are young. All of us make mistakes in our youth, and the only hope you can have is you're not so far down into your mistakes that it carries on into more of your adult life than you would like. And sometimes it does. And all you can do as an adult is deal with it. So when it comes to what happens if your car breaks down, stops working, needs a thing, all you can do is deal with it moment by moment. Like, it was not a happy situation. I did not expect to spend 3.5 hours sitting in an automotive place this morning. But it was like, once it happened, all I could do was get out the car, look at the tire, assess the situation, assess if it was something I could self-repair with what I have, which I couldn't because the side of the tire was ripped. Make a decision and move forward. And so it was like, okay, AAA, nearest Firestone, because I have Firestone tires. Go back to bed, go in first thing in the morning, try to get it taken care of as soon as possible. And there was no other choice to make. And that's not true. There were other choices that could have been made. I could have put it on a credit card and tried to find, like, a cheap tire place. But for what I needed to figure out at that exact moment, I made the best decisions I could, and I'd made some wise decisions, like having the AAA, in order to protect myself. And one good thing that I'm gonna add in this video about when things don't go great is AAA, if you're gonna go out into the middle of the woods, isn't gonna help you. Like, if you go way off road, AAA is not helpful. Since I work and I'm mostly in the city, AAA is super helpful, because almost all of the time I am on, like, main roadways where AAA can find me. And in my compromised financial situation, that is a good thing. So the question of what do you do when your car breaks down, needs work, an emergency happens, you figure it out. Emergencies are called emergencies for a reason, and there's only so much you can prepare for. Like, for me, I had a 12-volt tire inflator, and I had a can of that inflate stuff, because I desperately had to go get those from a location, air and the tire inflator stuff, to band-aid a situation where I couldn't get to a tire place right away. So I was like, yes, if this ever happens again, I have the things. And then I found myself in a flat tire situation where neither of those things were useful. So you can prepare and have the things. Like, you could have AAA for a year and never need it. And then you'll be like, man, I just paid for a year membership to like never use AAA. But when you have it, it makes a difference. The time that I did have to use the Tire Inflator can stuff, like it got me through a day where it was a Sunday and nothing was open, and I could not have gotten to a tire place in the next 24 hours. And that allowed me to drive my car for 24 hours in that situation. In this situation, it was useless. But all you can do is keep building those protections to the best power you can in your situation. If that means making sure you have, hotel money, do that. If you're like, I need to, know I have hotel money in the bank to feel secure, do that. If you're like, I know I need to have, be within a certain amount of miles of a friend, do that. But all you can do is handle the thing from moment to moment. Like, I'm sure most people's house burned down, like, they never expected that to happen, but it happens, and then all you can do is deal with it from moment to moment. So, like, not living your life or not making an unusual choice because you're afraid of what's going to happen, like, that's not going to help you. And yes, it is scary. It ain't even scary. It's hard to deal with when the unexpected happens. And it would be awesome if everybody could have an ideal situation. But how much are you going to let not having an ideal situation, like, hold you back? All you can do is just keep going. All you can do is make the next decision. And so rather you're like me and you're just poor and you're like, I have to make the best decision for me in my moment. Great. Make that decision, for you in your moment. And if you're like, I want to make this choice despite the fact that I could make another choice. Like, I could afford an apartment, but I'd rather put that money towards travel than do that. But also, like, investigate some protections. Put as many protections in place as you can. Like, if you want to go off-roading, go off-roading. But that means AAA isn't going to help you. So maybe, like, looking to see what kind of services would help you if you're off the beaten path and it's beyond something you can fix on your own. So yeah, that's it. It was hard. It was tough, but, and it isn't all roses. I didn't get something done last night that I needed to get done. I came all the way to Berkeley to get the show laundry done, which needs to be cleaned by Saturday morning. And right now somebody else is using the laundry facilities at the company. I could go to a laundromat and get reimbursed, but you can't really get receipts from it's a whole thing. Like, it's really screwed up my life to have not gotten this done last night at the company's laundry facilities. And like, I get paid for doing the show laundry in addition to my show hours of running the show. So, like, I still am gonna get that money, but because I have to do the laundry, but now I have to figure out a way to fit it in that isn't as convenient as doing it last night. I actually should have done it on Wednesday, but I miscalculated, and I was like, oh crap, that's right, I don't have a day off in between the show in Sunnyvale and the show in San Francisco. Life is gonna happen, and all you can do is keep living it. This was a really quickie, no edit video, so that's all I got for you.